Hey everybody, good morning, and here's day 2 now of trying to do daily videos on Facebook. Yesterday we had a great conversation about social media bullying and talking about what I went through the past weekend. But I want to continue the topic because it's a passionate topic now. So today, social media bullying part 2. I want to introduce to you a brand new type of social media troll that I saw engage myself and a couple other my friends, and it's actually quite interesting. A very polite, very finessed, very kind of data. You leveraged a lot of data, but was very like, oh, I don't know. I'm just asking for clarity, and maybe you can inform me. It was actually very interesting how the exchange went. So I want to share that thought, and again, I want to hear from you guys. Comment below if you have any ideas or thoughts on people who are the youth that you've engaged with that have been kind of social media bullies or trolls, or just people that are engaging in a very kind of deceptive way or inauthentic way, because I want us to have the conversation so we can call these people out. And most of the time they're friends of friends, or they're people that comment on public stuff, but it's important for us to understand who they are. So I'm going to explain who this person was. What was it? They basically said, well, this seems to be a little bit off. I posted a meme, which was whatever, that's fine, and this seems a bit off. I said, oh, and I said, oh, what do you mean? Well, I mean, and then they were like, well, can you explain where did you get how do you know this information is correct? I'm like, what's the source? I said, okay, fair comment. Source, sure, no problem. And I, even though I didn't have a source, I said, well, here's why the information makes sense. Why don't you show me some links that shows me that you don't have them? And what was interesting is that as we went on, and then I joined the conversation, I was doing the conversation, then two other friends joined in, and this person just kept saying over and over again, well, where's the link, and then they really started playing the mind games. They made a game, like they said, enlighten me. I am ignorant, and I'm just looking for clarity. And meanwhile, they threw out a whole pile of data about, wow, the economic plan is 5.2%, blah 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 blah, and which is fine. It makes them look smart, and I think that's fine. But then when I asked for sources for their information, he said, well, it's how can you show me your sources? And eventually what happened was myself, because the thing that really floored me, he said, I can't find a single thing that Hillary Clinton has done well, which was interesting. I thought that was fascinating because, whether you're a Clinton supporter or a Trump supporter, or even a Johnson or other supporter, I think it's important for us to be able to say what we think they do well and what we think they don't do well, and or their behaviors are good and bad. Because I don't think it's fair to say someone is 100% bad or 100% evil, and I think that something we've all been guilty of, and so, but I don't think it's fair. I think everybody has their merits, and as much as I'm against I was against Stephen Harper, and against I still said he was a very strategic tactician. He's a very smart man, and so I'm willing to say that. So this person started started really making us do the work and share links and content. It's like, well, when you say absolutes, so when you speak in absolutes, to me that suggests a little bit of bias. I mean, to me, absolutes are a sure sign of someone who's biased, or someone who is maybe trolling a bit. Now, as it went on, my good friend Julie, who I love because she's a fantastic researcher and one of the best, most knowledgeable people I know on many topics, she started engaging, and again, she's a PhD and she's a professor, so she started using different types of theoretical engagement, which was kind of beyond me, but I love the way she did it. But in the end, this person really sucked everybody in and never really said anything of substance that really was helpful, and just kept not acknowledging the point. So the conversation was different though than most trolls, because they didn't really attack anybody. They just kind of started. They did a few things that are really interesting. So what I want to talk about is how they use, even though they were polite, they seem to be calm. I assume so from the tone of the language. They seem to be calm. They seem to be very polite. They had some knowledge and data, like they used a little bit of stats and stuff, which I think is good. Although, again, if you make up stats, like, hey, 90% of people are introverted. Well, I could say that, but is that true? Well, no. But it might support my position if I'm talking about why introversion is so important in the world. But I do want to mention a few of the things that, again, in retrospect, I actually eventually left the conversation because I felt, you know what? I think this person's a troll. I'm going to leave the conversation. So I left, and my other friends started engaging. When they're finally done, I said my piece. The first thing, of course, is that they typically repeat their comments right away. Boom, 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 boom. It's like they're waiting to, I want to hear what this person says. I'm going to comment right away. So right away, when someone commented myself, or there was Elizabeth, there was Julie, a couple of people, they would comment right away. Like they're sitting in their office or sitting at home in their underwear or whatever they're doing, and they want to comment right away. So that happened very, very fast. That was the first thing. The second thing is always very, very noticeable is the long, long paragraphs. They don't really care for punctuation. They don't really care for, separating the paragraphs, but it's a very, very long paragraph. I mean, it basically took the entire screen of the Facebook page when you saw the actual paragraph. Again, those aren't absolutes, but those are just guidelines to help you identify if someone's engaging in troll-like behavior. The big one was the lack of acknowledgement to people's points issued or raised. Usually what they do is either they deflect to something else, or they completely ignore them and bring up their own thing or their agenda again. So, some people brought some very interesting points. I was like, wow, good point, and I hadn't seen it that way. And then no response or acknowledgement of those points. So to me, that is another issue, an identifier that someone's trolling. And then the two big things where it really got to is the contradictory statements. They would say things that were either the logic would fail them, or they would say one thing and then say something different that contradicts each other. And so the contradictory statements is something, again, a lot of people who are social media trolling will do. And then the fifth one, the most important thing that happens, is what's called gaslighting. So what this person does is they just start to manipulate it and try to create doubt in the people that they're engaging in terms of their facts and figures and what they believe. Because so what he did was he kept asking for a source and saying, oh, I'm ignorant, I need clarification, can you please enlighten me? And what happened was, and again, if you're liking this, comment below or like it or whatever, share with your friends. Like, I want to engage. I'd love to hear your comments on, if you've ever experienced dealing with different types of, trollers, and how you manage that. I'd love to, let's help each other out and figure it out. So he would say, oh, enlighten me, I'm not sure. What are the assumptions here? And again, assumptions are things I like to talk about too, absolutely. But it got to the point where because he wouldn't acknowledge it, because he kept contradicting, it started becoming more, he just wouldn't put up, he wouldn't acknowledge and wouldn't put up any sort of coherent response about the things that were brought up. And he wanted us to do all the work. And at a certain point, I joined the conversation way later, and I said, look, you're basically playing a game, and you're manipulating the conversation, and you're not really answering the question that people are giving you. I don't think you claim other people are playing a tune, but you're playing your own tune. And I said, look, you need to do your due diligence and look up the information via the links. You can certainly question the linked sources, or you can question, it's a biased source. But again, it's up to you to do your due diligence to look at it, as opposed to just spew off all this stuff. And so that's kind of how I ended it. And my friend Julie was like, well, sorry I got sucked into it. But I can see, she's an academic. She got sucked into it. I initially got sucked into it. But again, because of my experience last weekend, I certainly, I'll do like 3 or 4 comments. And after a while, I was like, okay, this person has a pattern. I'm seeing this. I'm going to just try to call out that pattern. That's what I started doing. I started calling out the pattern of what he was doing. I said, look, you're not acknowledging the points. You have to do your own research. And you're showing bias when you use absolute statements like this. So that's what I did. I think it worked really well. He eventually stopped commenting, which is fine. But again, you got to watch out for these people. On Facebook in particular, they're more. It's difficult because you get into very deep conversations, and so you get emotionally attached to it. So it's harder on Facebook. Twitter is easier because people just do 140 character, blah, you suck, or what about this, and it's easy to kind of let it go. It's harder on Facebook, and I understand that, which is why I'm talking about this, because I see a lot of my friends get caught up or sucked up into it. The thing that this person did well was, again, they were very polite, and they started using words like, oh gosh, and golly, and gee, and I was like, okay, what is that all about? It was very nuanced, but again, I was able to see through it. So, if you have any examples of people that are doing that, or in terms of understanding the finesse of how they're doing this type of stuff, by all means, take note of it. Watch this video, share with friends. Again, I'll review the 5 things that I saw for this person. I'm going to call them the finesse polite troller, which is, again, they still repeat comments almost immediately and over again. They have long paragraphs that they'll share with you. They lack acknowledgement of your point. They just kind of talk about their things. They make contradictory statements. If you read the entire long paragraph, you'll actually see from one to another there are contradictions. And then finally, and this is the hardest one, they gaslight you, which is they manipulate you into thinking that your data, your information, your beliefs are wrong because they question your sources, they question everything you're bringing up, they question your assumptions, and it just becomes this thing where it's just manipulation is what it is. It's manipulation. Those of you who comment and believe what you believe, you should comment. And if someone asks for a source, then I think it's fair comment to ask for a source, which he did in the beginning. And I didn't have one, so I tried to, articulate. I said, well, give me a source that shows that it's not correct, and he wouldn't do that, refused to do that. So, again, citing sources and things like that is a good way to go. So, hope you find this helpful. I love the engagement. I'm going to try to be here every day. Maybe not to, I'll try to be here like around 9 a.m. I'm a little bit late today because I got to go to teach my class at York. But thanks for your time, and comment below. I want to hear what your thoughts are. Okay, thanks so much, and thanks for liking. Have a good day.